Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Android App Addicts, episode 535. This is the show where we talk about Android apps, Android hardware, the gamey thing, the Switch. That's it. The Nintendo Switch and whatever else happens to tickle the mind of the great one, DoorToDoorGeek, Mr. Steve McLaughlin. My name is Mark. He's Door. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, Mark, I completely brained out and I forgot. Oh, man. Did we say this show is brought to you by Chuck Litchfield?
We have not yet. I was just about to do that. Yeah. You weren't listening, and that's okay. A lot of people don't listen. My job, actually, on the show is not to be listened to. That's the thing that you brought me on for.
I swear I'm trying.
So Door started a while back dedicating shows, if that's the right word, shouting out to our faithful Patreon supporters. And this week, Chuck, this show is for you. Chuck Litchfield, prolific contributor in terms of emails and app suggestions, and also a supporter via Patreon. Thanks, Chuck. This show's for you.
And I'll add, just a hell of a nice guy. He I didn't tell you about this, did I, Mark? He sent me a link to some website I never heard of before, saying it offered a 16 gig of internal storage, 4 gig of RAM smartphone, LTE compatible on US carriers for $45. I bought it. So I bought it. 3 weeks later, I get an imitation Gucci hat in the mail. But that wasn't his fault, because he told me there's no way this can be real, can it? I said, well, let's find out. No, it wasn't real. Turned out it wasn't real. And he did just send me a link tonight to another phone. This was a real brand, but it was a brand we haven't heard of yet in the US or even in Europe, I believe. $150 camera supposedly coming out next year with 4 gigs of RAM, quite a solid looking device, but we'll have to wait and see. And Chuck is in the greatest Northwest, maybe I'll say, to where when I get up there to go see a podcasting event or a conference for Linux or whatever, he's always there, and it's a hell of a good time. So if you're in the Northwest later this month, Linux Fest Northwest, up in Washington, unbelievably nice people, because they're all under the influence of, what now is legal up there. Great weather. Seafood, it's okay. Just don't get the crab cake and you'll be happy.
I'm from Atlanta, so crab cakes are frozen here, so I'm sure it's better there.
Well, and I did hear, I can't remember who it was. It was almost like the guy who committed suicide, the foodie guy.
Tony Bourdain.
Bourdain. It was almost like him, really smart food guy. And he said he firmly believes every time you go to a city and they're famous for that food, that's the absolute last food you should eat at that place.
Yeah, Alton Brown says that too. They stop caring, right? Why put any effort into it if everybody's going to come here for Philly cheesesteaks? Right?
Well,
effort into it.
And that was going to be my example. The worst Philly cheesesteak I had in my life was in Philadelphia, where they say they make the best cheesesteaks and they put cheese whiz on the damn things. Just not appetizing whatsoever. So here, Maryland is supposedly known for great crab cakes. The dirty secret is come to Maryland and get the fried chicken. We make more fried chicken per capita than any state in the U.S., and we consume more fried chicken than any state in the U.S. per capita. So it should be good.
Best crab cake I ever had in my life was in Washington, D.C. So, right up in that area. Absolutely, hands down, best I ever had. That was in 2000. The year 2000, 19 years ago. I still remember that crab cake. It was that good. And it was like a dive bar. I mean, it's one of those places where you go in, you sit at this old wooden counter, and there's peanuts on the thing and crab cake, and it was amazing. I have no idea. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember the name of the place, but I remember the experience.
It probably isn't even in business anymore.
Right.
And I'll say, to me, the most important thing about a crab cake was it handmade? If it was handmade, then there's a little bit more care going into it. So the probability of it being better is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it wasn't, battered in breadcrumbs and deep fried. I don't mind when restaurants do that, but that is not a crab cake. That is a croquette of some sort. And, it's just, I don't trust anything that comes inside something that's been deep fried like that.
Yeah. Broiled is the way to get your crab cake. Absolutely.
That was odd.
It was, but it could have been worse.
I just want to do a little diversion here, as if this whole show isn't diversion. I mean, we've been 7 minutes of diversion so far, but first off, Door, you're looking amazing. It's been a few weeks since I've seen you. Every time I see you, you look thinner, you look healthier. It's I just got to say it. You look good.
It sucks, Mark. I'm starving.
Yeah.
Every night I go to bed, I'm like, oh, it hurts. Maybe if I just ate something small, it would help.
So in my own weight loss journey, I've been very public about that for a while now. At my heaviest, I was somewhere over 500 pounds. I don't honestly know where that was because my scale stopped at 500. It was in excess of 500, probably, I'm guessing around 515 to 520. I was a big old fat dude. I mean, I'm 6'4", so I wasn't as dumpy as some people, and most people didn't believe I weighed that much. Anyway, all of that to be said, I bought some new clothes for Easter, and I'm not a clothes guy. I've been just folding over the clothes that are too big, and just wearing them. The pants that I bought last week were 8 inches smaller than the pants that I used to wear.
Damn.
And so I don't talk about that sort of stuff a lot, but that's a milestone that I wanted to brag on a little bit. I've lost 8 inches in the last couple of years.
That's good. See, and that's, I don't want to step on the scale kind of thing, because one of the things I know is, look, going on a scale every day really is nothing more than a way to just feel bad about yourself, because during the day, your weight is constantly changing up and down, up and down. So the logic is if you don't eat at the same time every day, go to the bathroom at the same time every day, and then weigh yourself at the same time every day, you're going to get some not completely accurate readings kind of thing. So I don't even go that, but I do notice when I got to cinch the belt. I noticed when I had to buy a belt, and then I noticed when I had to cinch a belt. And
overall, I'm down about 145 pounds. Again, I don't know exactly how much because I don't know my top weight, but it's in that neighborhood.
Well, and I'm a firm believer in this too, Mark. Slow and steady wins the race. My logic was quite literally eating like 2,000 to 2,600 calories a day. And then what I was trying to do was every day just eat like 10 less calories, 15 less calories until it got down to like a more normal number. But it still hurts. I mean, I'm starving every damn day. But more importantly, I saw some really good pictures come across my notification shade. One of them looked like it was almost an homage to Endgame. It looked almost like you made a wooden version of
Mjolnir.
Yeah.
I sort of accidentally did that. It is as I've talked about on the show, I'm working on a project a week with my goal to make 50 separate things through the course of this year. And this week's project, I needed a wooden mallet because sometimes when you're woodworking, you need to flatten things out as you're gluing up or whatever. And if you use a metal hammer, you dent the wood. If you use a rubber hammer, you don't get enough force to really do what you need to do. So you need a wooden mallet. So I thought, I'm making stuff. I'll make a mallet. So I grabbed some scraps. The biggest thing I had was about 6 inches long by a ½ inch thick. There was all just little pieces of scrap. I glued them all up and made this thing that was sort of an amorphous blob on the end of a stickish sort of thing. And then I took it over to the bandsaw and started shaping it. And when I was done, I kind of had something that looked a little bit like Mjolnir. And when I was done, I looked at it, I was like, I'm such a geek. I did that without even thinking about it. But yeah, I made a hammer. It's a nice looking hammer.
Well, A, it works. That's all that matters. Okay, it works. 2, I'll say this. It looks to me to be a great size of a mallet because with that size, you don't need to put any weight behind it. You don't need to put any force behind it. You let the weight drive it, and then so you won't damage things and you'll get the force that you need.
Right. And it's one of the pictures, if I've shared the album before, I'm sure Dor can put the link in the notes for this one, but I put everything I make out on a Google Photos album. But anyway, one of the pictures, I made sure I put it in my hand because I needed some scale there. It's a big meaty hand. That handle for a hammer is about the size of a full-on axe handle. But in my big meaty hand, that's what it needed to be. It probably would be uncomfortable for almost anyone else in the world. But when you're making it yourself, you can do whatever you want. So it's a nice, big, clunky piece of hammer. I'm a hammer made out of different pieces of wood. I'm pretty proud of it. Go check it out.
Well, and then the second question is, the first thing that was made was a very nice lamp, but the name of the tubes, you used a very specific type of tube for the lighting. Is that, it's not a pixie tube, is it?
It's Edison bulb.
Edison bulb. Yeah. I couldn't think of the name because I first just saw it. I thought, oh, that was cool. Then when the picture was a lot closer, I was like, oh, okay, now I see. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So that, I just made your classic steampunk. I mean, they're all over the place. Etsy sells them by the thousands, but this one's mine. And it's made out of pipes and stuff. And what I wanted to do was make the knob where you turn, it's a dimmer. I wanted to actually make that a water faucet valve so that you turn on the power in like you're turning the water on, but I couldn't find one that was the right size. So in the end, I just used an old guitar knob I have laying around. A lot of my stuff is just made out of whatever I have. I don't want to go out and buy new stuff. So thanks for noticing. I've really enjoyed making this sort of stuff. I took that one to my office and put it on my desk there. My kids are kind of mad at me, so I'm probably gonna have to make another one to keep at the house.
Well, I will not ever lie to you purposefully. I'll say that. It's like I hate Instagram because I have it installed on Island for work. So it's a work profile, doesn't access any of my personal information, but then I can do stuff for the Makers podcast, right? And I've noticed they are very good at knowing what time to send a notification over. So if I see that notification come over that there's new pictures, I look at it. If it's not a good time, I'm not looking at them right now. I'm trying to diagnose this server. Telling off another employee, whatever. I mean, that's what I do. But if my time's open, then I definitely go peek at it.
And there have been some comments from the community, and I appreciate that. Those keep me motivated to keep doing more stuff. So thanks, guys.
And I'll say I forgot again. I'm the one to blame, but Ivor sent a video message in that I did forward to Eric's family. There's no, we are the anti like broadcast network style podcast, like unadulteratedly anti-corporate media conglomerate wannabe network. And guys like Ivor sending in messages like that to me just reinforces that. Got definitely more emails because I will say we didn't try to make it a spectacle, what was going on with Eric, and we didn't try to make it a big spectacle when he passed away. We just let people know, and some people they didn't know for a week or 2 weeks. But so more people are still catching the news. You can still support Eric. His name is still in the notes, and his name will be in the notes as long as I remember to keep putting his name in the notes. With a link to his GoFundMe account where you can help his family try to deal with life after Eric. I did do a 24-hour live stream April the 13th through April the 14th, and I am very happy to say we did make it over the $10,000 hurdle. We're now at $11,153. So I definitely thank all the Podnutzians for all their help with that. Yeah, so in like typical Eric fashion, I can tell you right now, if hypothetically I was the one who passed away, Eric would definitely want to keep doing the show, keep communicating with everybody, especially guys like Ivor and Chuck Litchfield and everybody who supports the show for that. So I definitely thank you guys. And do not forget, I just ask everyone, support those who support you.
Now, that's one of the things that captivates me about podcasting in general. This is such an intimate thing that we do. You're listening to me right now. There's a very good chance that my voice is being driven right into your ears, with earbuds. I am, sharing your headspace, and it's a very intimate thing. And, Eric just, for what, 4 years, 5 years, I don't even know how long it was, came on this show and just, was just Eric. He didn't do anything other than just be Eric. and people love him for it. And I love that about podcasting, that it is this intimate, real, raw sort of thing. You're not going to get these hyper polished podcasts out of us. If you hadn't figured that out by now, you're a little slow. You're going to get things from us that are just simple and real, and it's water cooler talk, and it's just inspirational to see these things. So we appreciate that you keep sending the mail to aaa@podnutz.com, because we get to share in that with you. I hope that you're also contacting Eric's family through, and donating through the GoFundMe and all that sort of stuff. But keep sending those emails and comments to us, because together we get to mourn the loss of our friend. And again, that's the power of a podcast.
Yeah, and real in air quotes, real, heavy, hard, thick, contrasty air quotes, real podcasters live and thrive off of feedback and communications. Fake podcasters just want ad revenue and they don't answer any emails. And I'll say I am the most PC way I can put it, I am unbelievably upset. Trust me when I tell you, if Podnutz was not a ultra family friendly content network, I would have said something very different right there. But I am very upset I did the 24-hour live stream. It was the first thing I did in a very long time that before I hit go live, I was literally physically shaking and felt sick to my stomach. Not because it was a 24-hour stream, just because I knew I'm going to now spend some time to talk about Eric. I did not hit local record, and for some reason, it's not accessible or playable on YouTube, and I have no idea why. I tried to contact them through at least 3 or 4 different avenues. Haven't got a single answer back yet, because why would I? It's YouTube. They don't answer me. I'm out of their monetization loop, so I'm definitely low on the totem pole, because I wanted to take the video, chunk it up into like hour-long videos and put it back up, because who in their right mind would sit there and watch a 24-hour video? You know what I mean? Nobody.
Not I.
Yeah. So.
And I'm not even in my right mind, but yeah. So let me be the first to bring an app to the show tonight. And in stark contrast, the guy who never brings an app, I'm going to be the first one. It's probably a repeat because it's been around for a long time. But as most geeks know, in fact, right now across most of North America, the Avengers Endgame, the end of a 10-year storytelling saga, has been released. And the 3-hour and just under 1 minute runtime has me thinking about, when I go to see it Saturday, how is my 47-year-old bladder going to make it through this movie? And so I would like to bring back the show the app RunPee. By Polygeek Entertainment. And RunPee is a crowdsourced application where people go watch the movie, and then they indicate in the app a time where you're not going to miss too much if you go. And I checked this app out years ago, about a decade ago, and it was just sort of just bland. It did its job. It has really grown over the years. One of my favorite new features about it is the timer mode. So it'll tell you as soon as the Marvel logo stops, that 17-minute Marvel logo that they run at the beginning of every movie, hit this button, and then we will buzz your phone when it's okay to go run pee. Not only that, but there will be a synopsis of what you missed. So while you're in there, holding onto it with one hand, you can be scrolling through your phone with the other hand, seeing what you're missing while you're peeing. So naturally there are spoilers there, but it keeps you up to whatever with the movie, and so you can come back in and not miss anything. So RunPee, it's used to be a free app. Now it is a free to download app, and you have to verify your email with them, and when you verify your email, you get 2 free movies, and after that it's $1 a movie, which is totally worth it. Or you can pay $14 and get infinite movies forever. But $1 a movie to know when to pee, I'm totally fair with that.
I can tell you.
Oh, wait a minute. I misrepresented that. You don't have to pay anything at all. If you want to watch video ads, 3 video ads gets you, maybe it's 6. There's a certain amount of video ads gets you a movie. So you don't have to pay anything.
Well, I appreciate the fact they offer that as an option, is what I'll say. But I'll tell you this: if every movie turns out to be 3 hours long, and if I went to even 2 movies a year, I would happily just pay the $14, get it over with.
Yeah,
because 3 hours, there ain't no way you don't have to go to the potty. Is all I gotta say.
It's just that comes with just getting older. And my favorite thing to do now is go to these movie theater restaurant things. Right. So I am actively eating and drinking. And even if you're not there, you're probably getting a soda and a popcorn. So you're actively drinking during this movie. And yeah, you're going to need to pee.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's 2,967 reviews, free to download, ads, in-app purchases, which I do those in-app purchases. 4.0 average reviews, updated April 4th, 2019, only 33 megs in size, which I'll say, isn't bad. 100,000 plus installs. Current version 5.0.05. Yeah, this is the kind of thing. If you go to the movies at all and you do not want to miss what's going on, you have to have something like this. Now, there are competitors on the market, but this is the one I think that's been around the longest, aka it's the most trustworthy. But now here's the real question mark. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there's 22 movies in this timeline story, whatever you want to call it.
That sounds about right.
Can you name all 22?
Of course not. No.
Oh, come on. Yeah, you thought you were a nerd.
No. I mean, I have seen them all, most of them multiple times, but no, I couldn't name them off the top of my head.
Well, then I'll also ask, is Avengers your favorite slice of these 22 movies, or do you have a different favorite?
The original Avengers is my favorite superhero movie of all times, full stop. The first Avengers movie. The second one is Winter Soldier. So 2 of my favorite superhero movies are in this arc. So yes.
Well, and to me, it was very obvious. They definitely put, I don't want to say more attention, more money, more whatever, more something into that set of movies, because it's the Avengers. It's, like X-Men, but, Avengers. I'll just say it like this. I was genuinely shocked at how much I liked Ant-Man. I'm just saying. Maybe it's the Latino guy with his long stories. I don't know, but that was the movie series that I watched. I haven't watched all 22. Maybe I've watched 13, 14 of them, maybe total. But I was very surprised at how much I actually liked Ant-Man. And it doesn't help. It didn't hurt that what's his name was the main actor. I'm not good with names tonight.
And it's not coming to me either. Paul
Rudd, yeah, the unbelievably nice guy.
Yeah. I don't share that opinion of that movie. I think that movie was a low C grade at best, maybe even a C minus. Just not a good movie, not a fun movie. But having said that, I own it and have watched it at least 3 times. So even the worst movie, which I guess the worst movie would be Thor: Dark World. That one was bad.
Yeah.
And the first Captain America, that one was really bad.
It was, but I still love Red Skull. So, I had to watch it,
Yeah, Captain America, the case of the vanishing accent.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyway.
Well, I guess it could have been worse.
It has been worse. Absolutely. Scarlet Witch has had multiple accents throughout the series as well. It's a thing, but no, it's a good time to be a superhero fan. What I wonder is where they're going to go next. I mean, we already know there are multiple, like I think there's 6 in production right now. At some point, we, the nerds, who grew up on comics, are going to outgrow this sort of stuff. And I don't think they're cultivating the next generation. I mean, my daughter, particularly my middle daughter, is all into that. So she's going to be one of them, but I don't think it's going to be billion-dollar revenues in the future.
Or like we might just get like sick and tired of the number of them coming out, kind of like Star Wars. I will say everybody I know watched that Star Wars trailer, Rise of Skywalker, and was like, some people avoid spoilers, avoid trailers because they just, no, I'm just watching this trailer because I really don't care about this movie anymore. I think they hit maximum saturation.
Yeah. sometimes when you just squeeze in the golden goose, it doesn't work. What you get are broken eggs. And yeah, I'm kind of over it. I waited 20 years for it, and then when it came back, it was. I mean, the Force Awakens was really good, and I really liked the second one. The name is escaping me, but the ancillary movies, the
Last Jedi.
Solo, and yeah, the Last Jedi, I really like that one. But Solo and the other Star Wars stories, I think are tarnishing the brand more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, they made it very clear after this movie they're going to go to more episodic content, like, and hey, with Disney Plus coming out, that'll be a great place to host that content and make tons and tons and tons of money.
I mean, if they mined the Rebels universe and made good movies out of those, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. There's lots of really good stuff. And what bothers me is they're not using the really good stuff. They're writing mediocre stuff instead of using the really good stuff that's out there.
I know. I'll just say this. I'm old. And I said to my wife and to my kids, these latest movies aren't for me. They're not. They're trying to get the next generation hooked again. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, unbelievable production quality is what I'll say. Stories were okay. Acting was pretty good. But, like Snoke. I mean, can you get a bigger letdown than Snoke?
Yeah. Really great character, and then gone.
Possible great character, and then nothing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess I'm going to go back and watch Highlander again, I guess.
Oh, don't. It'll ruin it. I just did a couple of months ago, and I regret having done that.
Oh, no.
It doesn't hold up.
Oh, crikey. Okay. I guess I'll watch Fifth Element again.
That one holds up because it wasn't great to begin with. It was this. Its greatness wasn't from the production value or from the acting. The greatness came from the whole of what it was.
Yes. Everything put together.
Right. All right. Have you got an app for us, my friend?
Well, the first thing I want to bring is not an app. I will say we've made soft predictions on this show all the time. And the first thing I want to talk about actually isn't in the notes because I can't find anything worth even documenting about it. And this is the Samsung Galaxy Fold fiasco. Obviously, okay. I said years ago, there's only one way for Samsung to go because they were number one. And the answer was down. And the question isn't when they're going to go down or, if they're going to go down. It's a question of when they're going to go down. We have the Samsung Galaxy Fold fiasco. They send out review units to major players. 3 of them in the first 24 hours, 4 or 5 of them in the first 36 hours report publicly their phone broke. Screens were coming off, big bulges happening in the middle, all kinds of dumb, stupid stuff. And the whole journalist people are just freaking out. Oh, this is the end, blah, 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 blah. And I'll just say, who cares? Really? We had the same manufacturer sell phones that blew up. And nobody cared. Why are they going to care if a folding phone doesn't fold right or breaks? That's nothing. They already forgot about it. Consumers already forgot about it. So who cares? Samsung hasn't innovated since putting the fingerprint scanner in the home button like 6 years ago. They're not going to innovate. That's not how they make their money. So I just say again, who cares? Other people, and I saw one article that looked promising and it said, will Samsung's failing with the folding phone open up opportunity for other manufacturers? That's a pretty stupid question. I think it's pretty obvious, yes. It gives other manufacturers the opportunity to not only gain ground, but to gain credibility, but also to innovate how they want, how they like. So, folding phones, I think will still have some popularity in the next 2 years, but I don't think they're going to hit their full stride for maybe 3 years. And then, will we even have Android? I don't know. But
some form of Android is going to be around for a long time, but will it be the flagship? I don't know.
Well, but this is my prediction. We know Google Stadia is coming. Google I/O is coming in a couple weeks. That's going to make a lot of news. extremely expect at least one manufacturer around that same time to announce some more folding phone stuff. Huawei's coming out with theirs in like 2 months or whatever. But this is the thing I think that's going to be the real groundbreaker in this Google I/O season here in the next couple months. Back in February, they silently made a update to the Google Fuchsia code on GitHub, and they literally labeled it RC. Now, this is just nothing but pure speculation. Nothing but pure speculation. But they literally released a version of it back in February with the title 20190206, obviously year, month, day, _00 RC01. Typically in development terms, when you see RC, everywhere I've ever been, everywhere I've ever looked, RC means release candidate.
Mm-hmm.
It means it's getting ready to go live. Time to play around, people. So I would not be shocked. We're also going to see unveiled at Google I/O, everyone keeps saying, is the low budget new Pixel device. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that new low budget Pixel device will not be running Android. It's going to be running Fuchsia. That's what I'm going to go out on a limb and say. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I believe Google sees distinctively in their eyes, Fuchsia is the future. Inline apps, live downloading code and running it in your browser, and having basically essentially iframes all over your operating system where connectivity becomes even more important than ever. I think it's going to start to happen this year. I think Fuchsia is coming, and developers will still be able to make APK files, still put them on a Google server, but they're going to be delivered in a completely different fashion than how we're used to normal Android.
Now, there comes a time in the life of any OS where you can't go forward. The best you can do is patch and polish. And so, Android's been around a long time. It doesn't surprise me that it's time to look past Android. And Google, to all intents and purposes, has lost Android. I mean, they never really had it. It was developed in an open style. They have they're sort of the maintainers of it, but there's lots of Android out there that isn't Google. Do you think that Fuchsia is going to be all Google all the time and it won't be open sourced?
I think they were very good poker players. The first time they had Androids, they relinquished certain things, expecting that was one of the ways they can gain popularity. They give up the licensing, they give up the complete ownership of it. Here, the code is free, but if you want to put the Google name on it, you have to adhere to this very soft license. They did just renew that license last year to include you have to do releases for X amount of time, blah, 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 blah. There's no doubt in my mind, when Fuchsia comes out, it is going to have a unbelievably more strict licensing agreement. Now, with that stated, I'm sure they're going to be more onerous, but I can also believe they're going to say, to at least to the developer community, it's for you. It's to make sure your code is secure. It's to make sure that your devices are secure. Russia! Oh, so they, so they can try to say that no one's hacking your phone kind of thing. With each release, very slow, mild stepping releases back from Donut, Eclair, Cupcake, all those, Android has slowly gotten more secure and more like iOS. iOS is maturing and becoming slowly giving up rights, giving up powers, giving up admin control to apps, becoming more like Android. Remember, there was a time on iOS you couldn't even copy and paste from app to app.
That's true.
And if that's not secure, I don't know what is. So they're relinquishing security in the name of convenience. Android is giving up convenience in the name of security. So I think it's only a matter of time, but I do think they're going to be much more, I don't want to use the word onerous. I think they're going to be definitely more controlling of the Fuchsia source code compared to the Android source code. You'll still be able to download it and compile it, but there's going to be some secret sauce on those middle servers to make everything run smooth.
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me to find software hooks that cripple it on non approved hardware. Where you can do it, but the experience will be so suboptimal that only the cheap Chinese tablets would even consider it.
Yes, hardware is getting unbelievably cheap, so it'd be very easy for them to put in a chip that's dedicated, that's copyrighted, that's trademarked, that only does this one thing, but this one thing is actually very essential to speed and performance. But I think Fuchsia is going to take advantage of what a lot of IoT people are calling edge computing. With Stadia, it's one attempt to build out infrastructure literally farther away from the core data center and closer to nodes is the best way I'll put it. Instead of only having 2 or 3 places in the US, their goal is literally to have like 40 or 50 hubs in the US where there's power and performance at the drop of a dime. Edge computing is basically going to be part of that as well. And most of the time when you're in Fuchsia and you open up or you scroll, what loads is going to be coming straight off one of those edge nodes. Forget 5G. Please stop listening to journalists. Stop listening to tech people talking about how 5G is going to save everything. Just go back like 6 years. Listen to the exact same people talking about 4G and LTE. They said nearly the same thing. They promised us 100 times speed improvement. We never got 100 times speed improvement ever. The spec says we can get so much faster with 5G. We'll never get that speed ever. Okay, that's just the way it works. It's just like going to the store, buying the 500 gig hard drive and wondering why you don't have a 500 gig hard drive. You know, marketing and businesses are designed to lie to you in the least offensive way to make money off of you. So, yeah.
5G isn't really even the current 5G isn't 5G. It's like 4G plus.
Yeah.
It's marketing. It's not an actual new generation in the technology. When real 5G comes about, it will be life-changing in the same way that 3G and 4G were life-changing. I mean, to have the type of data dependency we have right now was unthinkable back in the days before 3G. And so, yeah, it will change things, but it'll be 20 years from now, not 2 years.
Well, and at the same time, and when it does change, we're going to wake up the next day and realize nothing's changed because now we just have a new bottleneck. Instead of the bottleneck being that, it's going to be someplace else. We always have bottlenecks in computers. It's just a question of where's it at. It used to be RAM, then it was processors, then it was video cards. It's always going to be something else. We always have bottlenecks. We always have something to complain over in the world of computing.
I mean, I've been doing this long enough, and I'm old enough to remember that when the cell tower that I had access to upgraded to digital, I mean, that was life-changing. But like you just said, a week later, it was just part of the background. It didn't change things as dramatically. It was just another building block in the wall that is the structure of modern computing today.
Yeah, and I want to share just 3 more really quick links. We don't have to talk about this a great deal, but I do believe it's going to be a splash, is what I'll say. OnePlus has done a lot for mid-range pocket computing devices, is the way I'll put it. They've changed the game. They've made other people realign. They've made other companies stop and take notice. They've made other companies modify what they do. Even though there's no such company as OnePlus, it's actually Oppo. I've actually owned 2 Oppo phones now. Pretty good quality. But one of them is a rumor saying OnePlus is looking at, they might be able to have this next generation device, the OnePlus 7 series of phones, be available on every major carrier from stores in the US. And that was one of the things that you said, Mark. They cannot make it in the US at all when any significant sales number unless you can walk into a store and pay for it over 2 years. And I absolutely agree with you. That's the only way they're ever going to see success in this country, because me talking about it will never get 20 million sales or anything even remotely close.
Yeah, it's not just got to be available. There's got to be incentive for that sales guy to walk you in that general direction, which, right now Samsung and Apple both have that.
Yeah, and it's the law of the numbers. The carriers are like, we can guarantee X amount of sales. Well, then fine, Samsung will give you this much of a discount, aka you'll be making even more profit on every phone. and that's what they have to fight with, and that's not easy. The second one is the leak announcement, which of course.
Hold on, you just said something that might be a little groundbreaking. I don't want to just run past it. Maybe that's why the new phones cost so much. So by the time they discount it for the stores to get a kickback, Oppo is actually making the same amount of money per phone.
It's just like cars, Mark. The MSRP of the car is never the price you buy it for, is it?
Yeah, so we've been buying essentially wholesale from OnePlus. You know, I'm holding a OnePlus in my hand right now that I paid, I think, $350 for, and the new one is projected to be closer to more than double that. You know, like $799, that kind of thing. Maybe that's how they get into the stores, is get the stores to sell it at $799, but they're selling it at the stores at $350.
So, and any profit goes to the middleman. Makes sense. I'll say that. Definitely makes sense. Yeah, and it's all about perception when it comes to price with computers. I'm a firm believer in that. The next one is the leak, and none of these are leaks. They're doing this on purpose. OnePlus and the OnePlus 7 and the 7 Pro, OnePlus 7 Pro, which is brand new, will be launching on May the 14th. And if you take a look at the link on Ars Technica, pop-up selfie cam, aka true, like full screen, no notch, no teardrop, no border at the top whatsoever, just pure phone. I gotta say, I think that's pretty damn attractive. And my selfie camera would never pop out if I bought one. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I have taken dozen or so selfies in my entire life. I mean, I have done it, but very rarely.
Right. I almost took one today just because when I was walking, doing my 5-mile walk, I drove past like a box truck with a funny looking crab logo on the side, but I didn't. Also with the OnePlus models, the low end looks like it's going, no, I'm sorry, the high end is going to have 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gig of storage, where the low end model, I believe it is, I'm sorry, there's going to be another model with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. Oh my. And then the third, that was the third one. And it's the end prices as well, with the high end price being, it looks like $819. Low end price, I believe is going to be around $700. Yeah. I just salute OnePlus. Congratulations. You've priced yourself out of my budget.
Right. I mean, good for you. You have made it onto the world stage as a premium hardware supplier. You stood on my back to do it, and I thanked you for the process. But yeah, I'm done. I can't buy another. I mean, the phone that I have in my hand is not worth $1,000. Spoiler alert: none of the phones are worth $1,000.
Oh, even if it was like a BMW of phones, even if you bought the phone and you were guaranteed if it broke in 3 years you get a brand new phone, I still don't think it's worth $1,000. Even if guaranteed in 4 years you'll get the next phone free, I still don't think it's worth $1,000. Maybe if you got 2 extra for free when you bought it, it'd be worth $1,000, but that's about it. You know?
Or maybe, this is something that we've talked about on our Geek Rant show often. Maybe the fact is these things really are worth $1,000, and we have been undervaluing the labor force and the manufacturing processes for so long that we have forgotten the real cost of goods.
Well, I mean, the only constant in economics and inflation is we're always going to get more bang for our buck. It seems like for the last 100 years. Yes, back in 1980, whatever, every computer cost $2,000 without a doubt. Every single computer was $2,000. Even the cheap one was like $1,006 kind of thing. Now, for the equivalent kind of computer experience, not computer, but computer experience, compared to what you could do then and could do now, you're at most spending $600 at maybe. Now, yes, the dollar has also changed value. The old gallon of milk comparing it versus a gallon of milk then versus a gallon of milk today. If you do that, computers still cost a little bit less. I believe, like you kind of hinted at it in the beginning, I believe a lot of the price of the phone isn't for the phone. It's for the ecosystem and systems around the phone. To support everybody else, to support all the things around it. Because I can tell you, like with my mini computing needs, it's basically using the same smartphone technology. I've seen more than a couple mini computers, Raspberry Pi computers, that literally have Snapdragons in them, or Qualcomm chips in them, or Samsung Exynos chips in them, which are the phone processors in them, and they're not $200. None of them are. They're all like $80, $120 at the most. RAM, yes, I'm sure if you get 12 gigs of RAM, the bus that's on that board is not mass produced like the same chip to only handle 4 gigs of RAM. So I'm sure that costs more money. I'm sure they cost more money. But I'm also sure if I ordered, 8 million of them like Samsung does or OnePlus does, that there's no way it comes to $1,000. Just, companies love making money. I can't blame them for it. But, they're just trying to prop up because they all believe they're going to reach peak phone here. That's what Apple keeps saying. Peak phone is about to happen. So they're switching to a service-based company. Every other company believes that they're making peak phone here any day now. So we got to make all of our money right now.
Yeah, I agree. Without a quantum leap in the form factor or, the folding phone, some totally new paradigm is going to have to happen for phones to be relevant 5 years from now. They'll just be commodity pieces of equipment that everybody buys in the same way that the base box PC is today.
Yeah, I'm going to get a whole bunch of facts completely wrong. Okay, let's just, for argument's sake, let's not hold me to the level of accuracy that a president or a congressman is held to. Okay, I'm going to say this inaccurately. Penn Jillette just did a little ditty show where he was in, I can't remember if it was Singapore or Hong Kong. I'm going to say Singapore. And he said he told his manager, every time I go to any country, make sure I have money so I can spend, so I can buy things, so I can do things. So his manager made sure he had money. He said it was something, 5,000, whatever. He said he got there. He went to his hotel, blah, 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 blah. He went and met a guy that he was planning to meet. And he sat down, had a meal. And then he said, okay. And then he pulled out his money and started to pay, count out money. And the guy said, what do you think you're doing? He said, well, I'm going to pay for this. He said, with what? He said, with money. He said, put that away. That's useless. And he was like, what do you mean it's useless? He says, nobody accepts money anymore. What year do you think this is? And he's like, what? And he pulled out his phone, WeChatted the money. WeChat, think of WeChat as a hybrid between Facebook Messenger, PayPal, and like Instagram and all kinds of apps mixed into one economy, one service, one application. So everybody has WeChat. And then when they left the restaurant, Penn said, there's no way you can't use money. I guarantee you I can use money in this city. And I guarantee I can find it like in a minute or two. He said, oh, yeah, sure, fine. He said, there's a homeless person. Perfect opportunity. He's going to take my money. He said, I don't understand his language. He doesn't understand mine, but I guarantee you he's going to see this money. He's going to understand what I mean. Penn said he walked up, he started pulling the money out and started to like pull it out, like count it. And the homeless person put his hand on the money, pushed it down, opened up his jacket, held up a QR code on his necklace, and then pulled out his phone and pointed to the phone to the QR code and pointed to Penn. He wanted WeChat money. Even homeless people. And the guy said, literally everybody in this country has a phone. If you don't have a phone, you cannot survive. Period. That's how everything is done now. That's peak phone. If that's not peak phone, I don't know what peak phone is. When every homeless person has a WeChat account, and that's how they get money. So that story just blew my mind. Completely blew my mind. He said he did find a place that accepted money when he went to a propaganda museum. Literally rode a bike, neighborhood, went down beneath a house, propaganda museum, where all it was they were looking at things that were outlawed by the country because they were time of war propaganda things. And that guy took money because, he didn't want to be reported to the country, and hopefully Mark shows up again really soon. But that's the kind of story that absolutely made me crazy. And yes, Ivor in the YouTube chat said exactly right. It's worth $1,000 because that's what people are prepared to pay for them. He's absolutely right. The majority of non-hardware costs are marketing related. I absolutely agree with that too. Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
I blame the kids.
Yeah, it just went away. I don't know what happened.
It could be worse. But yeah, Ivor in the chat said it's worth $1,000 because somebody is willing to pay $1,000, and he's right. It's perceived value. Do you really think a BMW cost $60,000 to build? No, it's perceived value. And if people are willing to pay it, that's how much it's willing to be sold for. This is the old sports trading card market. Whenever it tells you what a card is worth, that's not what the card is worth. That's what somebody is willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I have that conversation on Craigslist quite a lot. Somebody says, I'm trying to sell this thing that you could buy new for $300, but this one's 8 years old and I want $295 for it. I was telling them that may be worth that to you, but it's not worth it to me. Let me know when you're tired of looking at it and ready to sell it for $50. So,
yeah,
value is all about what people are willing to pay.
And I have to tell my coworkers the same kind of thing. I said, just because you see 20 people on eBay selling this one thing for $200, that means they're selling it. That doesn't mean people are buying it for $200.
Right.
Just tag those sales and follow them, and you'll see they're not selling, or they're going to bring the price down, kind of thing. So here's a totally tangential question. Steve Cherubino was on the 24-hour live stream. At one point in time, he asked us, how would you solve this? He's a Craigslist junkie. He actually wrote an ebook back in the day on Craigslist and how to use it. And he said he's always looking at like used computer hardware, used laptops, because he's always looking for that, real good one at a good price kind of thing. He's literally being inundated in his area with basically fake postings where it says laptop, you click on it, and then it says, get your phone fixed here, blah, 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 blah. And he said he's even contacted the companies that are the phone numbers, and they're real companies in his area. And he's told them, look, whoever you're doing your marketing with is scummy. Stop doing this. And he said he's reported them to Craigslist 100 plus times, and it doesn't seem to do anything. Are you experiencing any kind of Craigslist spamming of
Absolutely.
And is there a way around it?
Policing and deleting of posts is the only way to do it. But yeah, Craigslist as a company has always been very hands off, and I just don't think that will ever happen. Yeah,
that's what I told him. I said, look, I hate to say it, but either you have to get a developer to make you an app that you can flag something, so maybe you can learn and avoid them in the future. But I don't see any way to do this because Craigslist ain't going to react to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time. You've got to search for, guitar, and you get phone cases for $3.99. And they just word salad. It's the old spam thing. They just throw up every possible tag, and it gets in the search.
Yeah. Going to do a quick app here because we need to do at least a couple more apps, and I'll take responsibility for that. This is an app I saw at least on one other show, and it's the kind of app, even just saying the name, and I almost want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. Swoot, podcast with friends, emoticon smiley face. Swoot Inc., news and magazines, 52 reviews, marked T for teen, completely free, no in-app ads, no in-app purchases. That means they're selling all of your data. 4.3 average reviews, updated April 23rd, 2019, 27 megs in size, 1,000 plus installs. Current version 1.41.0 requires Android 5.0 and up. There's nothing about this that I find intriguing or desirable. It's basically like humble bragging about what podcast you listen to. Do you really want a constant ongoing stream of what somebody else is listening to? Don't you have enough stuff to listen to for yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, people like to share. Goodreads is a thing. People like to share what they're doing. SoundCloud was essentially the same kind of thing. So can be a social component to it for sure. But I just to make that the killer feature is kind of silly. This thing it's been out 6 or so months. It's got 1,000 downloads, and one of the reviews says, "All my friends have." I love how it shows me the podcast that my friends have listened to. Well, look, if you're the developer, if you're writing that, because there's no way of 1,000 people, all your friends are on that.
Or they don't have very many friends. If I listen to, and here's the thing, I don't want to know everything that Mark is listening to. I don't, because you're going to listen to some crap. You don't want to listen to everything I'm listening to, because some of what I listen to is going to be crap. Wouldn't you rather me say, "Hey, Mark, here's an episode of this show. Maybe you should listen to it. I think it's pretty cool."
Here's the thing I think you'd like. Yes, I agree.
Yes. And that's available in all podcast players by going to the little top menu and hitting share. And you send out a link to this show. And even here's another way that Podcast Addict has this app crushed. Podcast Addict, you can also pause the show and say, "Share this place in this podcast" with a share link. I don't see that being available in Swoot. In fact, Swoot is so friggin' lazy, their whole description is maybe 35 words. So I don't. This company must have just had an injection of finances in order to do marketing campaigns, because I've literally heard this app now mentioned like 5 times in the last 2 weeks on random blogs, random websites, and random podcasts. And there is nothing about this app that looks intriguing or desirable, as far as I can tell. But it is another podcasting app. So if you look for more podcasting apps that you want to share every single thing you listen to with somebody else, then I encourage you to check out Swoot, podcast with friends, emoticon smiley face.
All right. I understand your vitriol, and I'm not going to rebut it, but I will say it is nice to have podcasting thought of as a social thing again. You and I have been doing this a long time, but most of the rest of the world still hasn't really even heard of what a podcast is. It's a thing they've heard mentioned once in a while. It's not something they're really sure about it. So I encourage apps of this type. I prefer they be quality apps, and this one just doesn't look like a quality app, but I haven't downloaded it, so I can't really be sure. But it is exciting to me that there is a market for this that somebody's trying to capitalize on.
And that's why I'm upset, because I want hand curation. I don't want trending list of what's popular. I want people I can trust to say, "Here, this is a good episode." And I don't think this app is the one to do it, is what I'll say. It's one of those things, as far as I know, this is the first app to try to do it. And Mark, like me, you're seeing a lot of things. It's rarely the first person with the idea nails it on the first try and is very successful. I like the idea of disjointing social networks away from main silos and spreading them out, kind of thing. Because maybe if I see Chuck Norris Japan handle on this application, I think they're cool, maybe I'll be able to find them on another social network and, hang with them about something else. But I want hand curation. I do believe curated content from trusted sources is like Web 3.0 kind of thing. It's going to be very important.
No, don't agree with you. It's fine for people 40 and older. Kids don't want hand curation. They want
they do. They get it all the time. It's just from a YouTube channel.
They want the fire hose. They want all the things all the time.
But that's the only way that kids find games, from hand curation from YouTube channel. And right now, games are on the angle in 2 years to make twice as much money as any Hollywood movie establishment, kind of thing. It's all about buying those people to push that product.
There's that.
It's all about the money, and that's a sad fact of life. But podcast still hasn't quite got there yet. And then the other podcast related thing I think is absolutely funny is the complete and total meltdown of the first week of Luminaries, a podcast network is what I'll say. But they were doing a couple things that are very unforgiving as far as podcast creators are concerned. One of them, and I love how this article makes it sound like this is one of the only places that's ever done this, but they basically cache publishers' shows and then redistribute them themselves. I can tell you almost 50% of the podcast things I've seen in the past to pop up do the very same thing. So they obfuscate all your download numbers. Now, of course, they in this article on the Verge, all they complained about is they're obfuscating your download numbers, thus making it harder for you to make yourself marketable to advertisers. It isn't just about advertisers, it's just about knowing your market, knowing your popularity, being able to pick up on trends. Are you going up in numbers or down in numbers? Are you big in the US? Are you big on the West Coast? Are you big on the East Coast? The way they were doing it, they were basically caching all the MP3 files and then redistributing them themselves. So me as a podcast creator would only see one IP address one time hitting my show. So that's not cool. You had a couple big names in air quotes, big fluffy translucent air quotes, big names pull their show off of their network and basically said that you cannot carry my show anymore. Among them, Joe Rogan, something experience or something, I don't know. And a couple other ones. Blockbuster hit the Daily, Gimlet Media, and Anchor all like said, do not publish our content on your network. It also looks like they were actually inserting ads into other people's shows, which goes against a fair amount of copyright. What's it called? CC, Creative Commons. A lot of people who know about licensing and podcasts publish under Creative Commons share like no commercial use. So they were also violating copyright licenses by inserting ads into content. I don't think in 3 months this Luminaries is even going to exist anymore. I think a lot of people put a lot of money into a very poor idea of how to make money from podcasts.
Well, no, they knew exactly how to make money from podcasts. They wanted to make all the money, and they, this is all. It's still primarily an eyeballs medium, and you need to be able to prove that you've got the eyeballs before anybody will give you any money. And they wanted the proof, so they wanted it, like you said, they wanted to insert their own ads, and they wanted to be able to collect the data. It's. I don't think they were. That they misunderstood the mechanism at all. I think they perfectly understood it. They just thought that other people didn't understand it. And they thought that these content providers would be happy to just not get credit for a download. No.
I mean, maybe 8 years ago, people would have just been happy to be recognized and being on somebody else's platform. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, what they're doing is not unlike what Libsyn does, and people praise Libsyn for it. But the difference is the transparency. Libsyn is transparent about what they do.
Right, and you as a creator typically pay Libsyn for the right to use their service. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm always amazed at what companies are trying to do in the podcast world, but they're going to keep doing it. One app I want to bring up again, and it's only and it's really a selfish link is what I'm going to say, Mark, is I don't host. Podnutz host a Mattermost instance. Mattermost, think of it as elegant IRC or Slack, but private Slack, not hosted on somebody else's server that they own, but on a server that Podnutz actually owns and controls. It's actually being hosted on a DigitalOcean droplet. And I installed the Mattermost beta on my device. We had a server upgrade thanks to Charles. Charles is the guy helping me admin it in return, once in a while, I buy them a hard drive or headphones or something. And I will say this is unbelievably now smooth, polished, and running, and it's hosted in such a manner. It's not Google indexable. It's not searchable. Um, you can freely talk about whatever you want to talk about on the server. You don't have to worry about Google seeing it or somebody else kind of thing. Um, and it's under our control is what I'll say. So for right now, we're still running the Mattermost server. And if you want in, just shoot me an email, aaa@podnutz.com or mail at podnutz.com, and I can send you an invite. And it's an easy way to chat with other Podnutzians without, Facebook.
Or Google Plus, which is no more.
Without Google Plus. And we're going to keep saying that until Google brings it back. Oh, wait.
Yeah, they listen to us.
Yeah, they're not listening to us. Here's
I
the
don't
other
have a
one.
Google Home. If I did, they'd be listening to me. But
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have one.
By the way, I'm probably going to be giving away a Google Home Mini. I'm getting one in the mail on Saturday. I've been a Google Drive 2 terabyte subscriber now for at least 2 years, I want to say. So they just sent me a thing last week, said that they're going to send me a Google Home. I'm not even going to open the damn box. I'm not even going to plug the damn thing up. And my logic is, why would I? I still cannot find anybody to tell me anything that thing can do that my phone can't already do. So I'm not opening it up. I'm not putting my family, my wife has a phone. My oldest son has a phone. My youngest son has a tablet. If they want to talk to their stuff, they can. We don't need another home appliance in my book. So I'm probably just going to end up giving it away because, it's free.
All right.
Here's the other thing I wanted to talk about really quick, Mark. And this actually is going to be a tie-in is what I'll say. It's actually a tie-in to two other Podnutz shows. FreedomBox was something I talked about at least 5 years ago when John Mad Dog Hall introduced it to me. It's changed, it's morphed, it's matured a lot since then. There's an Android app now called FreedomBox. There's also back at their website, I want to say freedomboxsoftware.com. They have software you can download, you can install for Raspberry Pi 2, Raspberry Pi 3, x86 computer, VirtualBox, VM, all other kinds of things. And it's almost difficult to explain, but here's what I'm going to say. You install it on a computer, you then have to be intelligent enough to open a port on your firewall get the real use case out of it. And then what you can do is you can give, hypothetically, somebody else your address. And when they go to that address, they'll see a public side of this web server on purpose. Okay. You can literally log in as a user on your side of it and you can publish apps, you can publish text, you can have other things right there. So it can be like a blog type interface. And when they come to that domain, that IP, that URL that you assign to it, they'll actually see a public version of that site. Okay. Also, on the Android application, you can basically have like federation going on. So hypothetically, I could have a server, Mark could have a server, other Podnutzians could have server, and we could see in our interface all of those servers and visit them, kind of thing. Just like going to someone's Facebook page or someone's Twitter feed, kind of thing. Now here's the real like special sauce in it. You log into the administration side, and there is actually a lot of different software you can install. Among them, for instance, like Mumble Server is one of them you can install. Mumble Server is like voice chat where you can literally easily have, hundreds of people at once on the same server. Other things you can install Tor, so you can have your own private gateway. You can you can install Open VPN, so you can have private connections from anywhere back to your house, then out to the public internet if you need security where you're at. Things like Matrix, which is utterly crazily secure text chat. Media Wiki, so you can store stuff on your own server. You don't have to worry about somebody else leading it and then publish that publicly. Roundcube, email client. So you can literally install an email client on this, then connect it to other services. Hypothetically, I could load up Roundcube and connect it to gmail.com, podnutz.com, hotmail.com, yahoo.com, all these other web services, but have one interface hosted on my own computer where I can access it. And it literally goes on and on and on and on, the different kind of things you can install. Sync Thing, Mine Test, which is like a Minecraft server, Quazzle for IRC, Let's Encrypt for, automatic SSL security. And it just keeps going on and on and on. I think this is actually pretty cool. I'm going to try to install it, give it a go, see how it runs. If it works really good, I might look at replacing the Mattermost with Matrix, but I don't see that happening for well over a month. And I won't just drop Mattermost. I'll try to make it as smooth as transition as possible.
So you have to have a Linux box running the FreedomBox server, and then you admin it from the app?
Nope. You can run it on Windows, Mac, or Linux, or you could literally get like a DigitalOcean droplet or your own VPS in the cloud, and you can install it. It will install basically on any Debian-based operating system, so any web server will happen. But they also have versions, I believe I saw on their website, for Mac and Linux. So you can host it on a Windows computer, or you can host it even on a Mac computer. I think. Well, they have VirtualBox instances to it. So with VirtualBox 64-bit or QEMU, you can install it on any operating system, is what I'll say, because of that. And then you can admin it either from a normal web interface, or you can admin it from this Android app interface. And you can browse other people's instances from your Android app interface as well. I know. And that honestly, I love how you just summarize stuff, Mark. Exactly. Because there's a lot of possibility here.
It's also a lot of work. I mean, this is a geek project for sure.
Well, here's my logic. If you get it set up, I don't see a reason why you could not then, especially in a VirtualBox, you could then just save the backup to it and then change the passwords and share it with friends. And you can go over to somebody else's house, host it for them. The real goal, I'll tell you this, the end game, if you will, of FreedomBox is they would really like to have a Raspberry Pi already configured, already ready to roll. You just go to their website, you click buy, which you can do right now. 82 euros each. I have no idea what that comes out to. And you can buy a pre-configured, it's not a Raspberry Pi, a OmniMex, I never heard of it before, computer completely pre-configured, ready to rock and roll. You basically plug it up to your network and go, which will be in the end almost as much work, I admit. But yeah. They do have a goal for it to be more like drag and droppable kind of thing. They've been at this for a decade.
Today is $91. It'll change by the time it's good posted. But
well, here's the good thing, Mark. They've been at this for over a decade. I knew of FreedomBox. I'm pretty sure it was over a decade ago, and they're still at it, which is good. It means they're not giving up on it. But it's bad because I really wish they would have made more progress by now.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's going to forever be in my scope, and I really hope it gets better. I haven't tried it for 3 years, 4 years, so I'm going to try it again, see how much better it's gotten.
So just a quick unsolicited free ad for DigitalOcean. Man, if you need to host something in the cloud, that is the way to do it. They're not paying me to say this. They did write me a big check several years ago and didn't follow up. And so, but they made me a believer in that time. Great company, great pricing, dead easy to put something in the cloud. So yeah. Knowing that you can spin up a FreedomBox droplet takes all the pain about this away. You've got your own virtual machine hosted up there in the cloud on their multi-gig network. It's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, free ad there. Only because I really believe in them.
And and here's the thing. I asked them about being an advertiser, and they said you're not big enough. And I'll still talk good about them. Because I do think they're that damn good. The interface is really smooth. I love the fact that you can easily spin down an instance and not get charged for it. You only get charged for the time you use. So it's unbelievably fair prices. They've given me now 2 or 3 free upgrades because their data centers have gotten upgrades. So I've gotten more RAM, I've gotten more disk space, I've gotten more bandwidth free. I didn't pay anything more. And it's just rock solid stable. And and here's the thing, when you do the FreedomBox on it, you can say, well, I only want port 80 or 443 to be public facing. So, and when you do the administration, you basically do it on a different port. So you would have to first log into the VPS before you do the administration. It's another way to have security is what I'll say. And Ivor of the YouTube asked if you could run Plex server on this. Yes and no. It's not anywhere in the interface because they obsessively only support free and open source floss software. Ooh, that took a while yet. Plex is nothing about it is open source at all. But because it's Debian, you can simply drop to a command line, do a wget, pull the Plex deb ARM build down and run it, and it will install just fine. And Plex uses port 32400, I believe, so you shouldn't have any conflicts.
The problem with running Plex on a DigitalOcean, and the reason that I didn't move all of my stuff over there, is their storage. They're very storage constrained. They're all about processing and network, and you have to offload the storage to the Amazon cloud or something like that. So if you want terabytes of movies stored on a droplet, that's just not going to happen. Their storage is the most expensive part of it and the most constrained part of it. So probably not going to be that. I was looking at doing, backups there. I was looking at hosting things there, and the storage ended up being the Achilles heel. And I was going to do buy some S3 from Amazon and link it up. And in the end, it was just easier to do it myself.
Well, and I don't want to say you don't have the same constraints at your house, but you don't. I mean, every VPS provider has to limit something. They all have to, pick their poison. Some people limit bandwidth. Some people limit RAM and processor. Other people limit storage. It's always, one of them. And with a Plex server, you need bandwidth, hell of a lot of bandwidth. You need some RAM and some processor, and you need a heck of a lot of storage. So yeah. You're much better off just running it literally on your home network. I mean, I just downloaded all of Cobra Kai season 2 because that's how I roll. And I already 3 people have watched it from my, Plex server because, that's how I roll. By the way, did you watch it yet, Mark?
No, I had not paid for my subscription to YouTube Red.
You don't need it anymore, Mark. This is 2019. Oh, sorry.
But I will consider doing that in the very near future, and of course not watch anything that I'm not legally allowed to view.
Well, I only share it with people that pay for it already. It's just more convenient because it's on my Plex server.
Excellent. Yes. So I will true up my which that's a great thing about the YouTube TV thing is you can pay for a month, watch it, and then don't pay anymore. That's what I did the first time.
Yeah, it came out on the 24th, which was Wednesday. I forgot about it. I literally forgot about it. Tuesday night, 12:30, whatever. I do something. I'm back. Okay, let me just open up YouTube. I see YouTube. Cobra Kai, season 2, episode 1. So what did I do? I stayed up till 5:30 in the morning and I watched them all. Then I didn't go to work because that's how I roll.
Well, we are verging on staying up all night now, so I need to drive this thing into the dock here. So let's empty that tank right quick.
Okay, really quick, if you need yourself download administration on your phone, here's the one that's gotten a lot of traction here in the last couple weeks. It's called Download Navi Download Manager from a company I can't pronounce. Tachibana General Laboratories LLC. Tools, 61 reviews, E for everyone, completely free to download, no ads, no in-app purchases. 4.2 average reviews, updated April 25th, 2019, 4.3 megs in size, 5,000 plus downloads. Current version 1.0.2, only need 4.4 Android or up, 4.4 Android or up. Definitely an easy way to manage your downloads. This next one, Mark, there's something wrong with this one is what I'm going to say. Agatha Knife. This was a game that was on the Nintendo Switch. It's by Plugin Digital Adventure. T for Teen. Oh, you betcha. This is not no kids game. T for Teen. A whopping one review. $4.99. No ads. No in-app purchases. Updated April 17, 2019, 93 megs in size, 10 plus installs, version 1.0.1, requires 4.0 Android and up. All I got to say is this is a creepy game. Long story short, my son saw it. My son wanted to play it. Somebody in school told him about it. I told him he could play it, but I'm sitting with him the whole time while he plays it. The girl lives in the butcher shop. She loves the animals. It's her job to kill the animals. So she tries to make she tries to come to some kind of agreement in her head that it's okay to love the animals and it's okay to eat the animals. And oh man, if you're at all touchy, do not buy this game. Ever is what I'll say. Because the whole time I literally tell the kid every 2 minutes, pause. I got to explain something to you, kid. Because this game is definitely quite messed up. And if I knew what I knew, I wouldn't have let him bought it. But it was too late. The damage was
10
done.
plus installs. Talk about cutting edge. 10 plus installs.
I trust me, I know. I'm going to do two more links quickly, but it's actually only one app. I haven't had a chance to fully play with this yet. FairCode, I want to say is the guy's name. FairCode writes Android applications, heavily privacy focused. If you are at all a fan of this show for years, you would have heard me mention the application called X Privacy. Long story short, you have to have root. Hypothetically, I load Facebook Messenger. I don't want Facebook Messenger to have access to my contacts. I say to Facebook, you cannot have access to my contacts. Hypothetically, Facebook Messenger then folds its arms and says, well, then I'm not going to work for you. And applications will do that sometimes. X Privacy will enable you to say, give this application fake data. Don't even give it my data. Don't block it, but give it fake data. And it can do that for contacts. It can do that for GPS. It can do that for all kinds of stuff. It can fake all kinds of data. So if you care about your privacy, X Privacy is like the holy grail, dare I say. And I just said some blasphemy, but it is. It's the great way to have privacy, and you can even lie to applications. But he came out with another app, haven't had a chance to try it, called Fair Mail. It's essentially trying to be a more open, a more private, less restrictive mail application, completely open source. People who liked open source email for years used K9 Mail. K9 Mail had forever exploits and security things that had to be patched and fixed on it. It was not a great solution. It is on F-Droid. It's also on Google Play for some reason right now. The Google Play version is newer. If you go to F-Droid, I believe it's 1.35, 1.39, and on Google Play it was 1.45, I believe. But it's literally like 6 megs in size. Completely free, completely open source, no ads, no trackers. They also promise there are no third-party services that this thing ever connects to. Nothing is ever sent, nothing is ever tracked, nothing is ever logged. Since the guy did X Privacy, I got to try to believe him. So I'm going to definitely give this a go, give this a try, see if I can connect this. I will say I tried to install it. I tried to run it. Very first time I tried to run it. Google in the last couple months has changed where you have to now, for some applications, go in and basically greenlight them before Google will let you connect to a Google account from them. And with this app, I had to do that. So I didn't get a chance to do that yet. But I like email choices. I don't like Gmail. I want to connect to other services, not just Gmail services.
Looks interesting. I'm happy with Gmail, so I'm not a customer, but looks interesting. Well, back in my tinfoil hat days, I would have been all over this, but
Well, I have addresses at podnutz.com that I don't like forwarding them to DoorToDoorGeek.com because then it becomes very hard for me to manage.
Right.
What came in from what account, and if I know if they're dedicated separate accounts, it makes it just a little bit easier.
All right, so let me run down the list of apps. We have RunPee from Polygeek Entertainment, Swoot podcast with friends by Swoot Inc., Mattermost beta by page won't load by Mattermost, FreedomBox apps by FreedomBox, Download Navi, Download Manager by Takibana General Laboratories Inc., Agatha Knife by Plug-in Digital, and Fair Email available on F-Droid. All links will be in the show notes. So there you go. We missed a week last week. I think we made up for it this week by having an epic show. As always, thanks for having me. We talked a little bit on the show about podcasters making money. We talked about ads. We don't do ads here because we're too small for anybody to care about us. If you want to continue this show, if you want to support this show, if you want to help out, honestly, the best way to do it is tell other people about the show. The second best way to do it is to go to patreon.com/AndroidAppAddicts and pledge $1 or so. So the first thing, tell other people. Secondly, throw money at us. That's all I got to say about that. Dor, what are your final words for the night?
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you go to podcast players and give reviews, it doesn't hurt. But trust me, do not look. No podcast got popular because of podcast reviews. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Okay. Don't believe me. Darknet Diaries, 3-4 episodes ago, you simply pay $25 and voila, your podcast, even though it's been out for 10 years, can appear on the Apple new and noteworthy list because everything is gameable, especially reviews. Just look at Amazon. But if you're bored and you feel like trolling me, go ahead and give us a 5-star review, but put in there a rib or a joke, but don't call me Steve. That's all I ask. So you can do reviews, but I only ask you do reviews if you find them entertaining yourself, because you're really not helping anybody's show by giving them a review. You're actually helping the hoster of the reviews. So if you open up Podcast Addict and give me a review, you're not really helping me. You're helping Podcast Addict. If you open up iTunes and give me a review, you're really not helping me. You're helping iTunes. So, just we're trying to be transparent, people. Again, thanks everyone for all their support. Thanks everyone for all their downloads. Social media shares probably are 10 times more valuable than reviews, and just gets our places in front of more eyeballs. Can't hurt, can it?
And if you're interested in more me, elementop.com. Check out the other show I do there and the many, many shows I've done in the past.
Geek Rant, good stuff.
All right, everybody. That's it for the show. We'll see you next week on the next episode of Android App Addicts. All right. Let me see if I can come up with some sort of intro for this thing.
Oh, yeah. All over the place.
Carnivore religions, really expensive phones, and I gotta pee. All that and more on this episode of Android App Addicts. That'll do.
I didn't want to give away the key of that game, Mark, but the key of the game is you get told, well, the way to be happy about what you're doing is to make what you're doing a religion. So the girl basically starts a religion of basically ultra carnivorism is what I would say. Of meat. They're like not only good to pet, but they're good to eat. So
Yeah.
it's like the opposite of veganism
And
a
that
religion.
Yeah, that was in the description there is, she convinces animals that their sacrifice is necessary for their resurrection.
I know, and I'm like, I really wish I would have known this was this before I let you buy this game, kid. I thought, who told you to buy this? Who do you hang out with? What's wrong with them?
I'm pretty sure that's you on all categories.
I know. I'm trying to remember the other game he had. The other one was even creepier. I can't remember. And then, of course, you can't stop playing Fortnite, which is just such a bad game. Oh.
I have fewer problems with that sort of stuff than I have girls.
Well, we all have our own, thing going on. Oh. Show title: How Door Rolls. Where do I sign up?
Where are you seeing all this chat? In YouTube chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's only Ivor.
It's not in the IRC.
Yeah, it's only Ivor's the only one there. I almost want to push people to the YouTube chat, but I don't because then they'll change something and I'll lose control and I'll get mad.
Right.
Like they always do.
Yep, they'll make it go away.
Did it look like Nextcloud was working good for you?
Yeah, well, you should have the file.
Oh, it helps if I start up the application. Yeah. Okay. My brain ain't working. And yeah, Cobra Kai is on the Plex server.
I hate it when Windows. I just could stop it right there. I hate it when Windows. But this supposedly helpful tooltip is in the way of the thing I actually want to see, and it won't go away.
Oh, I have that on Linux. Oh, I have that on Linux. I have that on Linux. And yes, I really do want to punch something when it happens. Because I know. It's right there. 5:35. Bada bing. Thank you very much.
All right. All right, my friend. I will see you, I guess, next week.
All right, man. Be safe. Oh, wait, is next week your school thingy or not till the week after, you think?
I don't actually know yet.
Okay, well, no rush. Tell me when you tell me, and I'll be here still.
I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Oh, and email me, please, the URL to the Mattermost. I have that app on my phone, but the credentials are gone, and I don't know. I don't have them written down anywhere.
Okay. I believe there should be a password reset option for you, but I'll try to verify that.
I mean, I just don't even have the server. Is that Mattermost?
Okay.
Podnutz?
mm.podnutz.com.
Okay. Well, that's easy enough. I just sort of stopped using it because there wasn't much there.
Yeah, it's kind of random. Like one day we'll have like 30 messages in the time of like a half an hour. And then like 5 days will pass and we'll get like 2 messages. It's very random. But I gotta say, the interface is actually quite nice.
I mean, we need something.
I know. And when I saw FreedomBox have like the blog federation thing, I thought that actually could be cool. Because, I want to be able to post all the crap that I find, but I'm sure people don't want to see everything I post. But it'd be nice if they could just stop by once in a while and see what's new.
Yeah, I'm on it now. I'm in the town square and
Yeah, and I curated some of the channels. I got rid of the quieter ones.
All right. I'm out, brother. See you later.
All right, man. See ya.
Bye.
See ya. I gotta stop yawning. Oh my goodness. Outdoor rolls. I don't know if I want to call it that, Ivor, just because I feel like I'm leaving Mark out. That's how sensitive I am to to not wanting to offend him. Because I don't. He's a really nice guy. Okay. Open up. Copy. Making copies. 10:32 p.m. F2. Paste. 5:35. Now I got to upload this to YouTube. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to copy these links and re-bookmark them because I did not get a chance to bring them. At least one of them was one of your apps too, Ivor. The Specky. I think it's pronounced Specky. Sinclair emulator. I didn't talk about it yet because I didn't get a chance to play with it. Because I do want to play with it first. I want to try to play with it first before I bring it to the show. And I got to re-bookmark this one. So I did good. I squeezed a lot of links out. Didn't talk about Google Maps now tells you if an EV charging station is in use. But it's a good maps one. Might bring that up next week. Man. Save. Copy. FreedomBox. I think we talked about everything else. Luminary, Swoot, OnePlus. Did talk about Fuchsia. Okay, yeah, that's okay. So I got all the links done. Now I got to go to YouTube because it's going to take forever and upload the file. Actually, I want to do this right. So I got to first hit videos. Four two LOL cats. So I can harangue door on a live stream now. I have no idea what harangle is. I'm just a stupid guy. I have no idea what that means. Is that like weird leet speak? And you know, I've been doing live streams for about 8 years now, so I just typically stop them at the end of the show because why would someone want to, you know, listen to this? Don't know why, but I'm distractible. I do know that. So now copy all this, delete, custom thumbnail. I can see text coming across. I just gotta look at one thing at a time. I don't see how people can do things and follow chat at the same time. I must be just like completely inept, is what I guess. So I can't. So I gotta. Oh, how do I do? I can't remember how I did this. Did I click on? No, I don't think this was it. Edit tags. Oh, yeah. It don't even show me that. It doesn't even show me that. It's this YouTube live studio is definitely not the best thing I've ever seen. I'll tell you that. Let me try this. Edit. Tags. Yeah, see, it ain't there either. They really need to fix this, man. Cancel. Let me try to click the title. Big money. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Copy. I'm going to come here, paste the tags. Paste the tags. There you go. I'm not alone anymore. Congratulations, Ivor. I had it up on the TV. I opened it up on my phone. Hey, Diver. Yeah, you can troll me on a live stream, Diver. Oh, man. Here we go. I got my big boy pants on. I can take it. I can take it. And every time I think I close Discord on my computer, it just minimizes, and then I wonder, where's that sound coming from? I keep hearing the sound. Okay, time to bookmark the apps. So I never know. I never know. I never know what's going to be safe to do and not to do, so I don't care. So we're going to come here. I'm going to bookmark the apps. So let's copy, paste, copy, paste, D2D, free, close. This is where I need to have an auto it script where I can just copy a page or just go to a page, hit a keyboard combination and have it automatically copy the title and URL over to the spreadsheet. I'm going to still mark that as free because I'm lazy. Oh no, this one I'm still mark as free. Oh no. I do wish this keyboard would let me hit F2 without hitting the function key. But alas, F2 is mapped to change input source. Luminary, what a joke. I gotta see. I doubt, but I gotta see if they are hosting Podnutz content. Because if they are hosting Podnutz content, I will immediately send them an email, tell them take it down. Take it down. Not that I don't trust them, but I don't think they have my best intention at heart. And see, I'm almost ashamed I don't have this automated, because that's what I used to be good at work, was automating things. But really, it was only because I knew how to do everything with a keyboard. I didn't have to use a mouse to do things. So if you could figure out how to do everything via keyboard, it was much easier to basically record the keystrokes using a macro editor and do like basically a replay attack is what I used to call it. I believe, yeah, it was free. Only the game costs money. So that's good. Bang. This one, Agatha Knife. Man. The only word I can think of when I talk about that game is dank. Dark. The little girl is basically tormented. I think we paid $18 for it. So everything on Nintendo game-wise costs more. And then I'm going to also. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. I'll just do this. I'll just type it like a Neanderthal by hand. I think this guy's a smart guy. He's made some really good code, some really good projects that I really respect. I mean, he's no MarkC Marlinspike, but who is? I mean, MarkC's near genius. Was I showing? I wasn't even showing it right. That shows you how stupid I am. So why is it that when I hit share, it didn't allow me to do my desktop, your entire screen? Right. So why isn't it showing the entire screen? It's showing me down in the thumbnail. Oh, because I'm an idiot. Had to click that. That's what I forgot to do. I'm an idiot. It's not like have been doing this for years. Oh well. Guess it could be worse. Oh wait. Okay, so I have all the apps, 15 links. 15 links during a show. That's a lot of dang links, yo. See, so now, yeah, this is what I do here. This is what I do. I'll try this again. See if I can show this right. Share, bang. Yeah, so what I do, here's my spreadsheet. Here's the 15 apps. I go that far, Control C. I already have a gedit opened. Replace. New line with new line dashes, new line. Replace all, bang. Now I do it one more time, but I say replace all tabs with new line. Replace all, but dang. And now there's all the apps, all the links, things I've made, help Eric Arduini and family, everybody else. So that worked really good. Now I come down to here where I'm uploading the file. There's my links. Hit paste. Everything's there. Yep. This is for the Patreon. So let me copy this. Come back to here. This is the current live stream. Maybe it isn't the live stream. Let me go back. Studio, videos, live, edit, title, description. Yeah. Paste. So now the current live stream description should have updated. If we go meta, no. If we view live control room, no. No. Huh. Okay. Podnutz. Live. Android App Addicts. Bang. No. I'm seeing myself. Yep, the description view right now has all the apps in it. That's what I wanted. 95% done. Okay. Woof. Trippy. Okay, so I have that done. Video is almost done. Let me start the Patreon posting. Oh yeah, MRP, good stuff. I literally went dive out. If you know, I literally basically trolled Matt. I said, hey, you had a pretty good show there, Matt. Mind if I give you some advice? And no. He first asked me. I ain't gonna lie. He first asked me. He emailed me and a couple other guys. and asked for, "Do you have any advice? Do you have any insight on and like stuff I can do better?" Is what he said to me, and I literally like emailed him back like, if you want me to find something, I can, but most of the time when I find stuff, people don't want to talk to me anymore. And he like laughed. He said, "Oh no, 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 this will be fine. I'm asking for help." I say, "Okay." But I'm telling you, man, most people don't like it when I start to, pick them apart, pointing out bad things. They get really upset at me. Uh, and he wasn't. So I told him, I said, you could maybe fix this audio issue, maybe fix that audio issue. Don't edit as much. Stop editing. Don't edit. People want to hear you, the real you, not some fake you edited for 4 hours. Uh, and then I said, if you're really, sick and tired of doing all this work, you can just come on Podnutz. I no qualms, no hesitation either, because he was doing the exact kind of content I kept thinking to myself, if I had the time to do, I'd love to do. There's no way I had the time to do it. Oh, processing done. Okay, so now, yeah, done. Bang, 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 bang. Stop playing. Delete that. Control C. Come back here. And looks good. Patreon only. I like doing early access. We're going to have the early access expire. Yes, on the 28th. We're going to do it at 9 o'clock at night. So 9 p.m. Sunday night, people will be able to watch the tighter version of the video. Publish now. $18. I'd spend that on a steak. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I never said it was a smart purchase, Ivor. But my son was getting allowance money because he was getting good grades and he was well behaved and he was doing a lot of housework. So we wanted to make sure we said thank you. And then his grades fell off, so then we don't give him any money anymore. We told him fix your grades and then we'll give you more money. And he hasn't yet. He keeps saying he is, but we haven't seen it. Okay, virtual box. Time to load up the VM for the editing of the audio. And that was the other thing I said to Matt. I said, one thing to take, mitigate risk, mitigate bumps in your process. Literally take every bit of your audio editing gear, put it in a VM, and turn off all updates. Because if all you're doing is audio editing in it, you have nothing to worry about. If you don't browse the internet, if you don't go do anything on it except load audio and edit audio, you never have to do any updates. That's how I roll. 192, 168. Special. I tried to have one guy tell me, I know when you're typing a password, you might want to mute your mic because I can figure out your password from your keystrokes. I say, okay, go ahead and do it. He said, what? I said, go ahead and do it. In fact, let me put the mic down closer and I'll type and go ahead. Tell me what my password is. Of course, I never heard from that guy again. And I never got hacked. So I got to believe, he couldn't do it. He just thought he could. Okay, copying over. Yeah, this is why I would like to have a newer computer. This is a 7-year-old, third generation, maybe fourth generation i5 processor. So when I load up a audio file and hit remove noise or compression, when I do my compression, Dyson compression, longer the show, the longer the compression. Sometimes it literally takes 5 minutes to do the compression. That's definitely possible, Ivor. Well, yeah, that's it, Diver. To me, if you hear the occasional like dog in the background or, you know, car outside kind of thing, or even just, you know, clearing a throat or whatever once in a while, it just makes it real because that's what it is. It's just, you know, unfiltered. You know, if people want to listen to heavily filtered content, they have enough things to listen to. I mean, that kind of stuff's everywhere. Everybody tries to lie to their listener and try to sound more professional than they actually are. We don't. We're like, if you don't like it, you know, sorry. And I like literally laugh at the people, Diver. I've literally went to conferences and laughed at the people when they tell me, yeah, for like an hour show, yeah, it takes me about 4 hours to edit the audio. I laugh. What do you mean? How can it possibly take you that long? Are you doing it on like a 10-year-old computer? Like, no, I listen to every thing like at least 5 times and then I edit it. And then I listen to like 30 seconds of it like 5 more times and then I edit I'm like, dude, you have a mental problem. And of course, everybody I know who does that really gets sick and tired of doing podcasts because it's work. It's way too much like work. If you design your workflow to be work, you're going to hate doing podcasts and you're going to insist you make a lot of money or else. Oh, I'm still running mainly Ubuntu on all my rigs, but my audio editing VM is Tango Studio. Tango Studio is a Debian-based distribution with a real-time kernel enabled, which enables me to run at the same time the Jack audio stack for Qtractor, but it at the same time supports the Pulse audio stack to where I can run Audacity and other tools. And I don't have to do any fancy clicking or switching. I just load the app and it works. And it's really small. I want to say the whole thing is like 2.8 gigs or so. It is definitely a very fair sized distro is what I'll say. And Stormwatch, that Stormwatch in Discord did a lot of the actual heavy lifting, figuring out how to minimize file sizes. And he figured out how to properly do it wasn't my swap partition, because I said just get rid of the swap partition. I don't need no damn swap partition. But he figured out how to extend one of the partitions that enabled me to have a better like temp file. Because for some reason, when you put it all in one partition, the temp file still wouldn't show. The temp directory still didn't show correctly. So there were certain things in Audacity where if it was like an hour 30 file like this, I would have errors popping up and it wouldn't really work right. But John Miller figured it out. Stormwatch. Really, really nice guy. He's like a granddad. And first time I saw him, I said, were you like 13 when you had your kids? Doesn't look old enough to be a granddad. Definitely takes care of himself more than me. And I did have somebody email me compression done. See, that wasn't that bad. Like 2 minutes. I did have a guy email me and say, you know, when you're done doing a podcast and you're just sitting there talking, you really should leave your hat on. Why? He said, because you really look old. But I am old. So why? Well, you know, and like your head's shiny because you're going bald. I said, so I'm going to leave my hat off. You know, and they said, well, if you want people to think you're old, go and take it off. Dude, if I cared what people thought about me, I don't think I'd be doing podcasts. Yeah, now exporting the audio almost takes as long as doing the Dyson compression. And I'm just, doing a file export in Audacity to the OGG format. It's an hour 30. That was literally one of the longer ones me and Mark's done. He sends me an MP3 MP3 was only 83 megs in size. I'm going to guess that his AUG is going to be literally around 80 megs in size. Because I always do AUG quality 8. I want to say 7 or 8. You push the quality up too much, it goes crazy. Oh, yeah. And here's the thing, Ivor. My main rig, Lenovo T430, is running Ubuntu 16.04. I didn't even realize. I completely, there's a LTS out there I haven't upgraded to. So I started looking and I started changing my files around, getting ready to do the upgrade. Then I stopped and said, why the hell am I going to do an upgrade? I'm still supported. I'm still getting security updates and everything still works just fine. I'm not upgrading, not yet. So I'm still on Ubuntu 16.04 running i3 desktop. My presentation rig that's doing the streaming, I'm running GNOME desktop because when I try to run i3 desktop, OBS doesn't pick up Windows correctly. It doesn't display correctly. It's really bad. And then on my monitoring rig, I'm running again. That's actually running Ubuntu 18.04 with the i3 desktop. I want my monitoring rig to be as light as possible. You don't want monitoring to weigh stuff down. Okay, export is done. Save changes. Wow, his file was 33 megs. Okay, so mine is 88 megs. And that's the bad thing about OGG files. The amount you talk is directly proportional to file size. So whenever I did the makers, they would always try to make fun of me at the end of the show because they would also record and they would say, "Oh my God, Door, mine's only like 16 megs. Yours is like 40 megs." It's like, well, you guys don't talk. What do you want? Talk more, and then my file won't be as big. So now let me see if this will work. If I say share screen, does that get displayed correctly? Let me Control C. Oh, wow. Oh, the blue screen, the green screen I have is a blue screen. Okay, so this is my audio, and I did, before we record, copy my background static. Should be right here, which you guys won't hear. Don't believe so. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys don't hear it. It's all the static from my AC unit. Noise removal, get noise, Control C, noise. Okay. Yeah. So I got to wait 6 times during the workflow process. Once to remove noise on mine, once to remove noise on MarkC. The second time I have to wait is Dyson compression on mine, Dyson compression on MarkC. Okay, I'm wrong. Third time exporting on mine, fourth time exporting on MarkC. So that's 6 times right there. And then the 7th time is doing the main Q tractor mixing export. And then I got to wait for the last transcode from wave to MP3. So there's 8 times total I got to wait when there's only 2 hosts. That's why I would like to have a better processor. So I'm going to try to do that. So that isn't too bad. That was 1 minute, 1 second. Okay. So now let me zoom back out just to see. Don't want any extreme peaks in the audio. Like this right here is kind of extreme. And you can see it's very thin. So amplify negative 4.4. This will help the compression a lot. Let's go back out. Let's do like this. Let's zoom back in. Really only this one is the worst. It ain't that bad either. But I'm still going to take it down a notch. That's fine. Now do the Dyson compression. And I literally went through and tried every single one of these compression and all the tools. If you notice the plugin, there was a lot of extra choices down there. Me and Stormwatch figured out how to load VST plugins, which are not really professional grade plugins, but they're definitely very close to professional grade plugins. The real professional grade plugins all have pretty GUIs and literally like slider knobs and twisty knobs, trying to make everything cool. Where most of these plugins are text driven, which is okay by me. Can you buy one of those hats at all? You mean the Podnutz hat? Yeah. Um, Honestly, I think it's in the notes of AAA. There's a merchandise link. If not, I know it's in the notes of DDG. There's a clothing merchandise link. Let me see. Edit title and description. iTunes, RSS, spreadsheet show, Patreon live. Here, yeah, it ain't in there, so it's in the DDG episode. I have the podnutz.com/clothing. Yeah. Copy, paste. I think that's it. I thought that's it. Okay. Compression. Now everything looks more even. You know, if you'll notice that, I'll hit Control Z. You can see how there's higher peaks, lower valleys, higher peaks, lower valleys. When I do the Dyson compression, redo, everything's more even. So now I just do a file export, because that's the whole thing about compression. You want the loud spots to be just a little bit quieter and the quieter spots to be just a little bit louder. Without compression, it's painfully obvious when I listen to a podcast and they don't use compression correctly, because I'll hear people go off the mic and it will sound like that, and then it will sound like this, and then it'll sound like that. It's like, you need to be more mic present, keep the mic in the right spot, but B, you just don't know how to compress audio. All right, Ivor. Yeah, there should be 2 hats there too. I think, thank thought. Oh my goodness, my neck. And I'm wearing my old glasses again. The ones I had just too scratched up. I had clip-on sunglasses from the manufacturer, but after a while, right in the middle of the lenses, the clip-ons were scratching everything. Oh my goodness. Thought that was a good show though. It's always good to talk to Mark. He only challenges me with stuff once in a while. But what he does, I always got to stop and think. I always got to make sure I answer him appropriately, or else he'll call me right out again. So I believe if I go back to the live thing in YouTube, the 24-hour stream still isn't available. That really does piss me off. I have no idea why it happened either. I blame myself. Okay, about halfway done the editing process. Okay. Export done. Don't save. 71 meg. So there you go. I literally talk twice as much as Mark. Jeez, man. Glad he's not here. AAA. I love the fact that Mark always remembers to do the intro part, because I always forget. Delete. Add file. Og. Add me. Add Mark. Come here. Let it zoom out. All right, man. Take it easy, Diver. Yeah, I'll turn this stream off soon. I don't know why I haven't turned it off yet. Okay, now I can easily see. There's where Mark started talking. No, it's not where Mark started talking. I started talking here. Yep. So I zoom in nice and tight. Hotkey, delete, delete. Cancel, close. Didn't mean that. Didn't mean that. Did I mess up? Yep, I lost my place. So now I control Z. Always want to know where that's at. That's my spot. That's the Iggy. So I know where to drag this back to. Always want to start at just about the exact same time. Come here. Delete this. Click here. Drag this stuff to the end. Which will be right around here. Wait for Mark's audio waveform to load. Yeah, of course, faster computer, that would go faster too. There you go. So, let's see. Open the com. Bang. Zoom in. Trim mine. Cut his. Let's do this again and say bang. We cut it right there. Bring that red really close. Here's where he starts the in promo. Let's cut it just a little bit. Control S, delete. Click over here. Control S, delete. Zoom out just so there's less physical space. Drag it all the way back to the beginning. There's a quicker way to do this, but when my hand's on the mouse, I like to keep my hand on the mouse. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to do audio editing strictly using a keyboard. So let's get that a little bit tighter. Make sure I didn't cut anything off. Okay. Bang. Control A, control click. Bring everything back down. Check the audio level. Yeah. That all looks good. I like the bounce meter. Just make sure this is right. Better. Stop, save, track, export, audio. Bang. A. And this is the next to last time I gotta wait. And this, I think, is honestly one of the longest waits during the whole process. And it's literally because it's taking all the little separate pieces of audio. And this is what is called a non-destructive audio editor. So all the changes I make during the editing process are not changing anything. They're just preparing a set of commands to all be executed when you export. So when I export, it's literally doing all of the leveling, all of the balancing. It does its own compression. It cuts the files and then puts them in the right places, and then it stitches them all together. So it's literally taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different instances of files and patching them together correctly. And by default, because this is one of those extreme open source projects, Q tractor. It basically only reliably exports in really high quality in waveform, which isn't bad, but it's gigantic, and I can't post that because it's going to be more than a gig. Nobody wants to download a gig audio ever. And I have had podcasts where I literally go to download the file and it literally says like, 300 megs for an audio file. And I try to contact the people, try to tell them I'll help them. And of course, they're so incompetent, they don't answer because, they're publishing 300 plus meg audio files for like a 40-minute podcast. So we'll see how low we could get this file. I'm going to expect it's going to be lower than 70 megs, probably less than 65 megs is what I'm going to say. I love the fact that Diver called himself 42 lolcats. Yeah, this is the longest wait of the entire process. And what I don't like is if I'm listening to a YouTube video while this is happening, sometimes as soon as the audio is done processing, I'll hear like a crack in the audio, and then my audio will be siloning. And then I got to unplug and replug the USB, power it off, power it back on, which is a really, I'm really lazy, and that's a pain in the butt. So 14 total playbacks is what they said. Chat rate, I have no idea. The highest chat rate we had was 3. I don't know what that even means. Concurrent viewers, yeah, at the most we had 8 at one point in time for literally 5 minutes. Lowest number, of course, was 1, but that's kind of unfair. So 3, we had 3. That was I think when Mark's computer rebooted. Which I'll say we have not had happen in a long time. That was the first disconnect during a live show we've had in a while. Should almost be done. That's the other thing I really wish this had was a progress meter. And if there is a way to do a progress meter, I literally have no idea how to do it. I'm going to take for granted there is no progress meter. Okay, that's done. Hopefully my audio isn't messed up. Control, oh, no. Close, we already saved it. Come here to the outgoing, load it up. It's 902 megs. That's a little bit too loud. That is a little bit too loud. I do not like that. So we're going to delete it. Come back over. We're going to reload it. Ah, man. Okay, reload it. Hit. Lower just a little bit. Track. Export. I could have tried to modify the exported WAV file, but I would have then also been manipulating the music and the intro sound and the outbound promo if I would have did it there, and I don't want to do that. The more consistent I am with the intro music, the better, because then people know how loud that is and if they need to turn it up or down versus the speech. I don't like mixing up those audios unless I absolutely have to. And it says there's still 3 people watching. I got 3 likes. Holy hell. I never get 3 likes. Thank you for the likes. I know part of the reason I don't get likes is because I don't beg people to give me likes. But I want them to be more organic. Literally, I hate using that word, but I want them to be more organic. I want people to give a like because they feel like giving a like, not because I asked them to give a like. So last time I'll say this was about a 3-minute process, which honestly ain't bad. When I first started podcasting, literally exporting this kind of audio would is an hour plus audio was a hour 29 minutes. It was literally like a 30-minute ordeal. And it really wasn't on bad hardware per se. It was just on, especially on Linux, the software maturity was not there, is what I'll say. Where now the audio editing, at least maturity is really good. The video editing is actually getting pretty good too. I ain't gonna lie. Uh, you have good choices too. We got crazy high end choices. I can't remember what it's called, Lightwire or something like that. Not Lightroom. It's a really high end one. Then you have really low end ones with really basic editors. Then you have stuff like OpenShot and KDN Live, just really solid video editors and functional. I know on KDN Live it's very easy to do effects, whether it be after post processing. You can do green screens, or of course, the typical flashing text or screen transitions. This should all always be done. I'll say in about 20 seconds. Big money, no whammies. 3, 2, 1, done. Oh man. I tried. Just more proof I'm fallible. Yeah, see, typically I would have stopped the live stream by now and been catching up on podcast. That's the one thing I don't like about doing podcast. I don't listen to podcast and I fall behind. Right now, if I go to my podcast playlist, it says I have playlist duration 4 hours, 47 minutes worth of podcast. When I go take a look at how much I listened to today, still transcoding. It says today I listened to 1 day and 3 hours, so 27 hours worth of podcast today. Today was a very busy day. There's lots of podcasts that came out. And I have no idea why, but there you go, transcoding done. But a lot of podcasts came out. Okay. So close, edit, open. Oh yeah, much better. Not perfect, but much better. Because one of us is lower. I'm gonna guess Mark is a touch lower than me. I'm gonna guess I'm the loud one. See, I'm still peaking a lot, but it's better. And that's the only thing. Now, truncate silence. Why? So you don't have to. So it goes from an hour 29. Let's see, it typically only goes down at the most like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. On a couple podcasts, it will go down 5 minutes. But here's the most inaccurate process meter of the whole event, because it only goes to halfway. And I'm guessing it only goes to halfway because the left and right channels are absolutely identical. When I did the output from Q Tractor, I made sure it was in like a mono mode, even though it pumped it out in a stereo feed. So that's why I'm going to guess this only takes half as long. As soon as both the elapsed time and running time match is when it ends. And it's always 50%. See, 120. Wow, that's a lot of more than I thought. Okay. Export. So now we come here. We don't want it as OGG. Hey, we do want it as OGG. Do we want it as OGG? Yeah, we want it as wave. See, my brain, man, not good. Output. We want to overwrite the file. Even though we say overwrite, it doesn't overwrite the file. Makes no sense. It renames the old one to AAA-old 1, and it makes the new one AAA wave. I have no idea why. Even though it clearly gave me even a warning that it was going to overwrite. It doesn't overwrite. And this is where I was getting my errors with the temp file or the temp partition being full. When the source file was a little bit more than a gig and the output file was a little bit more than a gig, I would get like drive full messages. That was bad because I said overwrite and it didn't overwrite. Almost done. But of course, I don't publish in waves, so there's still one more thing I got to do, which is control, quit, don't save, delete the old, change the folder, pull up my trusty terminal, search recursively, A555. And this is doing an actual lame, which is the most basic way I've found, most granular way, the most unchanging way to transcode a file. And it's basically transcoding it from wave to MP3. It's doing -M space M, which means ultra strict mono mode. -B 96 bit rate of 9600 bit rate, 96 bit rate, which is super low. But this is spoken word. I don't need high bit rate audio, which is why I have typically smaller file sizes than most any other podcast with the same time of a show. Hard re sample at 44,100. If I don't do that, sometimes crazy stuff would happen. And then input file is AAA.wave, output file AAA535.mp3. So I'm gonna guess this is around 65, maybe 68 megs, which for an hour plus podcast is good. I purposely am not refreshing the file manager because I want to be surprised. 5, 4, 3, 2. And this would be a lot faster with a better processor. Okay. 55 megs. Wow, I was still high. Okay. Control C, Control V. Copy it back to my main rig for publishing. And then I delete the files in the VM. So it looks like it's actually doing good. Yeah, it's 11:30 and I'm almost done. That's good. If I actually might have time to actually play a game. I never have time to play a game. But of course, I also have podcasts I should listen to. Okay. Bang, bang, bang. I'm going to stop doing the share. And I'm going to turn all orange. And then I type video. I put my hand in front of the screen. And I fix my white balance. Okay. Control Q. Okay. Because I got to type some super secret, crazy detailed 30 character passwords. I don't want people to see them. And of course, they're not 30 characters because, I'm on Linux. I don't want to call it That's How Door Rolls. I really don't. I don't like not giving Mark credit. So just because I don't want to insult Mark, this is going to be called Mark has to time his P. Yep, that's what we're calling it. Mark has to time his P. Filling out the ID3 information. 535. Genre is just podcast. Comment is number 0. I do that because it purposely breaks some of the older systems. That's just my way of sticking it to the man. apply the image, go over here, load FileZilla. Oh, and I got to load up Patreon over here. Log in because I got to upload this to the Patreoners because I always deliver to them first. And I really, that's another thing I'm really, really shocked. Podcasters I know that have a Patreon will sometimes not publish their content to the Patreon for like 2 days. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, as a Patreoner, you'll get it in the feed and it's like, oh, I listened to this already 2 days ago. Why am I subscribed to this one if it takes 2 days to come here? Who am I? What am I? What do I know? So I always try to do the opposite. I try to publish to the Patreon early and schedule to the public feed like 2 days later. And in their notes, into the Patreon, it's literally nothing. Literally nothing is in their notes. So it's like, well, then why do you even, why? Why do you even publish to Patreon if you're not going to put notes? Because the people that are subscribed to your Patreon are the more dedicated people. The more dedicated people are the people who probably would actually look at your notes. Because that's probably how they got to your Patreon. Okay. Clone 534. Cloned. Turn that back on. Save changes. Okay, now we're going to edit. Now we actually have to come to, yeah. Here, we will be here. That's going to be really nice if it is. Click audio and Patreon. Control V. Oh, giggity. That worked fine. I can't believe that. Yeah, that did. After this, I'm not going to do this yet. I am going to put the clothing link in there, just not yet. Public audio 535 picture badang. Post title required. Yes, it is. Come here, Control C. Bang. Yeah. Nope. Always do this. Always do audio in front. So it's posted to Patreon. Early access 428 901 because it would never let me do 9 o'clock for some reason. Publish now. Show is published to the Patreon. I think. Well, I'm not going to sit there and wait. Control V. Yep. Yep. So now copy, delete. Take me to my new post. Okay, so now let's see if I copy this. Well, actually, no, I'm going to try to copy it from here. See if it comes across better. Control V. Oh, much better. But got to delete all this, which is fine. Okay, so now I also have to reinitiate all the hyperlinks, which I hate. It's one thing I wish this editor in WordPress would do better. You paste a URL, have it automatically become a clickable URL. I want to say with Gutenberg thing, it was doing it fine. Bang. Also, change the show number. Also, set featured image. Control C. Another paste. One time I actually counted the number of copies and paste I do in post-processing a show. It's a lot. It is a heck of a lot. And I honestly feel good about that because it means I have less opportunity for error. Okay, not publish immediately. This is going to be published 28th. 28th. 28. 21:01, which is 9:01 PM, but it never comes out at 9:01 PM. I think that's the whole UTC thing. Bang, 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 bang. That looks good. Okay. 5:35, 5:35. That looks good. Why is that not doing that? Bang. Yes. Okay. Okay, now. No, I'll do it next week. Bang. And it all looks good. We're done. I published it to Patreon. I published it to Podnutz.com. I published the video to Patreon. I uploaded the video to YouTube. Yeah, I think I'm done. Can't believe there's still 3 people watching, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for all support. Do not forget aaa@podnutz.com. Anytime you want to shoot us an email. Okay, I'm going to kill the live stream. I'll talk to everyone again real soon.